why it's really important to have a plan and understand what your goals are.
In fact, my camel out there is suffering right now with a broken back.
So I actually found Pepe when it was only a couple of hours old, and I'm like, oh, this is a funny meme.
Oh my god.
Yo! Who is this degen?
The old man is swing trading over years at a time. And it's like, that's where the real money is made.
The answer is a permanent loss. With single-sided staking, you don't have to worry about impermanent loss.
Really, at the end of the day, it's just the matter of a macro market. It's just what happens.
If you're aware, if you're disciplined, you can hone that into further financial growth.
Financial freedom, so we can actually live life and not have to be constantly living paycheck to paycheck. I mean, that's the ultimate goal, more or less, right?
Good evening, ladies, gentlemen, and D-gentlemen of all ages. Welcome back to the Degen Roundtable for your Sunday flagship news show. Tonight, we actually have a bit of a pleasant surprise. I know the running joke is that, well, the news is about there's been no news, but we actually got a bit of a treat because it felt like we got a good bit of news that came in all at the same time. We got a wacky story for you about a CEO actually getting involved in the betting markets, kind of. And then we also have our bread and butter, which is Federal Reserve. Yes, we had a meeting on Wednesday. We have the results from that and a little bit of the analysis of the press conference to come afterwards as well. And then after that, we also have more news. Unfortunately, it's not the greatest. Apologies to the folks that might be affected by this, but yes, layoffs are coming. So we'll be talking about all that and more here tonight. But welcome back. I'm your host, Zenith. It is a pleasure to see you guys as always. I'm a bit of a legal and government analyst around these parts. But outside of that, I'm joined by an excellent cast of characters. First off, we have my excellent co-host, Mr. Will Stevenson. How you doing, buddy?
Aloha, ladies and germs at home. I'm doing well. It's just kind of cold over here in Nebraska, so I'm a little bit bundled up. Life is good. Life is good. Bouncing around the country, building towers, doing fun things, hanging out, having fun. I'm glad to be doing this stream with you guys. It's going to be a good one. Speaking of the government shutdown and thing, the memes have just been fucking hilarious. I've been enjoying the hell out of my Instagram feed, and all of my fellow degenerates sending me plenty of degenerate memes of people acting up in supermarkets and complaining, and it's been quite amusing. So I'm ready to get into it, though. We've got some serious stuff. We got some fun stuff. Brendan Broski, how are you doing, bro? What's new and exciting with you?
Oh, doing pretty well. Had a pretty full weekend. We had Halloween. Happy Halloween, everybody out there. Happy All Souls Day, which is today if you're Christian. And yeah, it was a good weekend. I had Josh and his girlfriend come visit my wife and I this weekend. So they came up yesterday. We went to some phenomenal wineries, had some great views, perfect weather. And yeah, we even spent time drinking at a gas station. You're not in the parking lot like some degenerates, but there's actually a gas station that got built across from me that has a bar inside. It's essentially, literally, it says 21 plus only. You go in there, they have a Keno machine, they have scratch tickets if you want to gamble. They have like 15 different TVs to watch every sporting event, and they have a bar. I'm like, this is a gas station? And then it's even funnier when I say, hey, let's go hang out at the gas station tonight.
Nice.
But yeah, we had a good time, good weekend. Football today. Yeah, football today. Patriots won, barely. I'll try to choke it away, but that was good. Yeah, things are good. My voice is coming back, finally, after 2 weeks.
Very happy about that part for sure. I will say that reminds me, I'm in a bit of a small town, but it's super odd that we don't have very many bars, but there is a bar inside of our grocery store, and that place gets like actually pretty hopping some nights. It's crazy to think that people actually go to the grocery store and just go sit down in the bar there.
What type of grocery store is it?
It's called it's technically a Kroger store, but it's called the Smiths.
Okay.
Yeah. They just redid the bar too. So it's like the full circular bar. They got TVs, games, and I think they even do like karaoke one night a week. It's wild.
Wow.
I know, right?
That sounds like, okay, honey, you go shop for the food. I'll be over here at the bar.
Bro, it's like the IKEA, you know, you send the wife off to get the groceries. I'm gonna go hang out and eat the fucking meatballs and you know, do the fun stuff. That's fucking cool. There's one of those over in Fate, Texas. It's called Fresh by Brookshire's is the name of the store. It's where I like to get all the glyphosate free bread that I eat when I'm staying over near the Dallas area. But that's super cool, man. I love seeing bars in the stores. And in the one over at Fresh, it's like it's not even like off to the side. It's in it's in the aisles. It's like it's the end cap of 2 different aisles, and there's just like a little half round table that can seat like maybe 10 people, and they just serve alcohol there in little plastic cups and shit, and so you can sit down there and have a drink in the middle of the beer and wine section, and it's super cool. So I love that. Fucking gas stations, gas station bars, grocery store bars. That's freaking kick ass.
Yeah, it was
fun
very
fun to see it.
interesting.
Sure. Alrighty, Will. I think it's about time. Do you have the thing?
Nope, I lost it. It's all gone. We're all done. There's no more chat shoutouts forever. Let's fucking rock and roll on through it, broski.
Alrighty, let's do it. Let's say hello to the folks out there because we love you guys that much. Up first, Slide 180, first DGen of the evening, with quite the DGen comment here. He says, "Butt chug that beer, DGens." I have a fat tire ale out of a can, so that one might be a little difficult to do there. But
I mean, if you hadn't opened it, you could maybe shotgun it.
That's true. But this is a nice beer. This is a good beer. I want to treat this beer well and actually enjoy it because I really like Fat Tire.
I actually just realized that I have some Jaeger left over still in my floor container right over here, so I don't have any beer to butt chug. But I do have some floor container Jaeger, so that's what I'm going to be drinking tonight.
Will, I need you to explain to Brendan what you've been drinking lately.
I've been drinking. I've called it grog because I came up with this drink while Levi and I, my coworker, super awesome, cool guy, we were on a canoe trip, and I was like, man, we can't just go on a canoe trip. We had pirate flags and pirate hats and everything. We can't just go on a canoe trip without alcohol. And so I took this bottle of Jaeger, and everything that you see not inside of the bottle right now went inside of a 1 gallon jug of water. So it was like a gallon jug of water plus this much Jaeger. And I just switched it around, and I was like, that's probably pretty alcoholic, and it tastes like something sort of kind of alcoholic-ish, but it's still like, keeps you hydrated. You don't get like fucking hammered on the trip. And so we were just sitting there like chugging this like bottle of water and Jaeger. It was pretty good. Watered down Jaeger is a good drink in my book. So we were drinking grog on our canoe trip, and during book club I had some left over, and so I finished it off on book club. And I think also maybe even on Whiskey Wednesday as well. But I love Jaeger and I love water, so Jaeger and water is an obvious choice. So cheers, Mr. Josh. I'm not gonna butt chug it, not on stream anyway. So there you guys go.
That is an interesting drink, my friend.
You're a man of a rare taste palate there, Will Stevenson.
It's so Jaeger's basically just like black licorice, with some sugar in it, and it's not a super high percentage. It's actually it's 35. Wow, I thought it was like 18. Okay,
it's liquor. What'd you expect?
Well, it's a liqueur. So like normal liqueurs are like in the 20 to 25 zone. So I thought that Jaeger was a little bit less strong than it is, but cool beans. I'm drinking 35% here, baby. That's awesome.
Made with deer blood.
Yeah. Do they actually put deer blood in it over in Germany? I heard that was true, but they don't do it in the States.
I doubt it.
I doubt that one as well.
Well, I'm drinking Jaeger and water. So there we go. I got some sparkling Mineragua from Doritos and some Jaeger.
Sparkling Jaeger, very nice.
Yeah, are you sipping? Well, not together, just separate. You got anything, Brendan?
No, I'm in. Drank so much yesterday, and then Friday we were out at a Halloween party. So I didn't know this, but I'm apparently 15 minutes from West Virginia, kind of in where one of my friends lives. So we went to this place called Touch of Texas for their Halloween party, and it was like they had a mechanical bull, and it was like, but they weren't playing country music; they're playing more like DJ house music. But it was interesting. But my point is, I drank enough this weekend. I do not need any more today.
Nice, man. Love to hear it. All right, let's keep it going. Mr. Frank White coming in here with the Bang Bang DGen gang. Good to see you, sir. Always a pleasure. Brendan's getting in here too, saying DGens and DGenettes. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday to everybody. Speaking of DGenettes, we have Tam Tam. She says, hello, my lovelies. Great to see you. Hope you're having an excellent weekend yourself. And I know she's getting ready for the old Pulse Chain University coming up on Tuesday. Will, you're hopping in on this one, aren't you?
Yes, we're going to be talking about T-shares. So that is the topic of conversation for this coming Tuesday. So if you want to learn more about T-shares, this is the time to do it.
Yeah, there you go. TLDR. T-shares were always cheaper yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Marcus72 saying, what up, all? Good to see you, sir. Hope you're having a good weekend. Centurion 54X, aka 54 Cent, he says, what's up, Degens? Good to see you, sir. And then, last but not least, giving us the old 07 Hexagon Lost in Asia. By the way, Hexagon Lost in Asia was also one of the guys that joined us for book club on a Friday. And for those of you guys that missed that one, TLDR, the episode is Zenith Tortures Will with a book that he says is very complainy and way too technical.
This is a whiner book. There was some valid points in there. It's just I disagree with the central point of his argument. So
yeah, for I guess just as a quick refresher, yes, the book was in defense of public debt, and is saying that governments being able to accrue debt allows for flourishing of humankind and nation states and stuff. But at the same time, I think the thing we hit him the most on is like, you've put in no limiting principle. You've pretty much created the sword that says it cures everything, but reality it just still cuts everything really good.
Yeah,
So,
and then you give that sword to the government, who is definitely a known trustworthy entity.
Nothing has ever gone poorly at the hands of a government. Never,
Nothing, David.
not once.
Nothing.
True. But yes, Tam saying, yes, T-shares, my favorite. All of our favorite. T-shares are great. A lot of people have been stealing ideas of T-shares ever since they came out. So there you go. Shout out to Richard Hart. And Will's got the old Quattro Cinco tattoo to boot.
That's how you get the most T-shares. The most effect of the T-shares that you have. So
True.
Me and Dace also, by the way, did a little explainer in the Telegram room. I want to say it was Thursday. So if you guys were around on Thursday in the Telegram, check out the latest and greatest little Telegram call that we did there. So if you want more information on T-shares, check it out.
Love to hear it. Alrighty, well, let's get into it. But first, I do have what might be some bad news for folks out there. So let's just get out of the way. Yes, the Dodgers did end up winning the World Series.
Sorry.
Yeah, it was like, did you guys catch the game?
Yeah, you didn't tell me you were going to put this on me right now. I come in here to talk crypto and football, and here you are talking about Dodgers winning the World Series. Shoot me.
Hey, former Jay's not here. He didn't bring it up, so I had to bring it up.
I did watch the game. I did watch pretty much the whole series outside of the Dodgers buying another championship. By the way, for those of you who say they don't even have the most payroll this year. Well, if you look, they have $700 billion of payroll deferred, almost $1 billion deferred till 2040 something. What bullshit, by the way. Anyway, I'm not going to say congrats to the Dodgers, but I'm going to say that was a fantastic World Series. I mean, if you just like baseball and you like the sport, it was a great World Series.
Yeah, you got your money's out of it too. They went to a lot of extra innings, including the last game. I was at a party where I think they were asking me to get ready and load up some Jackbox games for everybody, and then someone was like, "Wait a minute, World Series looks like it's going to extra innings. Let's tune in." So we watched like the last 3-4 innings, pretty much, and it was a fun ride. Everyone there was cheering against the Dodgers, which, hear me out, I understand. But at the same time, I was like, I'm at a party. I want to have a little bit of fun. So I just started cheering for the Dodgers just for the groans and the laughs. And then ultimately they ended up winning. And I kind of felt bad because I looked around and everyone else was just like, Gah! Yep. Meanwhile, I was kind of just poking the bear. But nevertheless, there you go. There's your sports ball news to begin with. Alrighty, on to the real stuff. Folks, we have an official announcement from the Federal Reserve. Let's see what they have to say. October 29th, the committee seeks to achieve maximum employment and inflation at the rate of 2% over the longer run. Uncertainty about the economic outlook remains elevated. The committee is attentive to the risks to both sides of its dual mandate and judges that the downside risk to employment rose in recent months. In support of its goal and in light in the shift in balances, the committee decided to lower the target range for the federal funds rate by 1/4 point to 3.75% to 4%. In considering additional adjustments to the target range for the federal fund rate, the committee will carefully assess incoming data, that evolving outlook, and the balance of risks. The committee decided to conclude the reduction of its aggregate securities holdings on December 1st. The committee is strongly committed to supporting maximum employment and returning to its 2% objective. Well, gentlemen, are we surprised?
About which part?
Well, we got a quarter point cut, so that's pretty cool, right?
That is, I think we were expecting that. I think it's good. Job market is looking very, very poor, which I think we'll talk about here a little bit. Inflation has ticked up a bit, but we can maybe pull up Trueflation the other at some point today. But Trueflation, a lot of people say, is more accurate than what the government uses. These outdated statistics for inflation. Nonetheless, that was still the highest we've seen in a while, and but nonetheless, still under 3%, even with Trueflation. So we'll see. He was definitely a little bit more hawkish than he has been in the past, but I think because he doesn't want people to predetermine what they're going to do in December. And it was annoying when he was like, "Oh yeah, and don't expect a cut just because in December." He's like really trying to push the markets. Didn't quite understand that from him. Didn't think he needed to do that, but yeah, got a quarter point cut. That was good.
Yeah, this one I think was possibly one of the most telegraphed things we've seen for a while there. It seemed like that first one, everyone was like pretty firm on it, but we still only ended up at like 95% chance according to the FedWatch tool. But then on this one, we got all the way up to 98% chance. So I think that is the reason why we saw Jerome add that line there about don't expect nothing for December. We'll figure it out when we get there. Is probably because he saw the last one, everyone anticipated it. This one, everyone anticipated it even more, and he's probably looking at you guys just like, stop it, stop that right now.
What's the worst thing that happens if the market anticipate what he's gonna do? Like does somebody get some sort of insider deal? Is there some sort of crazy thing that happens if the market anticipates what the Fed's going to do?
I would argue,
Like, do we
not
take money
especially.
away from the Fed?
No, we don't. We don't find Jerome Powell in
Exactly.
regards
Yeah.
to
Like,
sort of like league action for high sticking too much or something. But
yeah.
theoretically, what would happen is that it's kind of what we saw with this one, and a little bit of what we saw with the last one, which is that we're over here looking at the charts, trying to figure out, okay, Fed rate. If this rate cut happens, what's the market going to do? Well, if everyone already anticipates it to the degree that like everyone already factors it in, then you get no effect pretty much. Or you can
Yeah.
actually get a little bit of front running of stuff going on. It's not like insider trading front running, but it's definitely where you can point out and be like, here's what we expected it to do. Here's where we kind of see like the aggregation of like people deciding here's what's going to happen. And then that move happens before the date actually itself shows up.
So is he like asking for permission to do the thing? Like by saying, "Hey guys, don't ruin my surprise." Is that what he's pretty much doing? Like, is that what it amounts to? Or am
I
I
don't think it's,
misinterpreting here?
I think he's
No.
trying to prevent people from getting wrecked in case it goes poorly.
Yeah, what he's saying is there are still factors that are causing inflation to be higher than they want it to be.
Yeah.
And even though the job market's bad, he's trying to tell the market, hey, look, don't just predetermine what you think we're going to do. That being said, if you were to just hold my feet to the fire right now, I think they're definitely going to have another cut coming in December. So I think also is a little bit of game playing, knowing that the likelihood of them cutting rates is very likely, but he wants to be hawkish on the other side of it. So he's kind of playing both sides of the game, I think, a little bit.
Agreed. And to even support that point further, if you remember the last press conference that we had, one of the big statements he made was like, look, this is not a single point cut thing that we're doing. This is marking the start of an official policy stance change. Excuse me. So based on that, it kind of gives credence to the idea that like, okay, he's going to try to do a couple quarter point cuts consecutively, or maybe within a certain amount of time to achieve this new policy. So when he comes out in this one and says the stuff like, don't get any bright ideas for December, it's like, we kind of do because you told us that we should in the September one. So I don't know.
Yeah, go ahead, Will.
I was just gonna say, like, I don't understand why he uses this language of like, hey, don't try and predict the thing when he has previously told us thing.
I think that he has it's different from like being in charge of a company where you have a literal fiduciary responsibility, but I think he, as the head chair, has a little bit of responsibility when it comes to like telling people like stop trying to anticipate what we're doing. We're going to do what we do, so don't like make crazy plays and get wrecked when we don't do what you want us to do. Because time and time again he shows like he will not cave to pressure, which I can respect him for all day.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah.
Will you step down if Trump asks you to? No.
I will also say though, even though he was a bit hawkish, there were times that he was dovish. And one of those was you might bring it up more, but talking about the end of quantitative tightening pretty much. And that means at some point we might be moving into quantitative easing, which means more money in the market, which means good for the markets.
The magic words right there. Yes, sir. All right. Tell you what, I do have our little clip I want to pull up, but I also do have a handful of things I found on Twitter regarding the the FOMC. So I'll pull those up and run through them real quick. First up, just found this on X. Thought it was fun. Shill Gates, he says the founder of Hex is the most wanted man in by Interpol, and he goes, "Yeah, for not paying taxes. That should be applauded. Taxation is theft. F you."
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Mr. Shill Gates. Always a classic. Speaking of classics, a lot of people were very excited for this FOMC for different reasons, if you will. There's a good speculation about which Fed bunny will they reveal next. Although the longtime viewers had noted, like, man, we haven't seen either of them in a hot minute. We got to bring them back. Additionally, we Crypto T got in here saying that's an odd comparison. Jerome Powell's doing things to them pages, let me tell you.
Oh my God.
And then also back to the more serious side of things. From Mr. Crypto, he's saying the FOMC usually starts a dump, but then we rally shortly after. It's happened 3 times in a row, and I'm not betting against it here. So let's look at the chart. What do you have for us, sir? FOMC June, down 7%, rally. FOMC August, down 6%, small rally. Some correction. September, down 8%, big rally. That was a new all-time high we got right there. And then we have our current corrections. And this is pretty much what we've been seeing for the last week, which is that we went up to about $116,000 for Bitcoin. This is the Bitcoin chart, by the way. And we went all the way back down to about 106 and change, but this is slightly older. So I do have some revised numbers or revised charts that we can look at later on, but we are moving back in the upwards direction. But what we're seeing here from Mr. Crypto is he's saying, look, I've identified a pattern. Let's see if it happens again. So, sure. Anyways, enough of that. Let's get to it. Here's a good clip from Bloomberg. Let's see what Mr. Jerome Powell has to say. Let's turn it up. Let me know if you cannot hear the sound.
At today's meeting, the committee decided to lower the target range for the federal funds rate by a 0.25 percentage point to 3.75% to 4%. Conditions in the labor market appear to be gradually cooling, and inflation remains somewhat elevated. The shutdown of the federal government will weigh on economic activity while it persists, but these effects should reverse after the shutdown ends. If you were to see data that suggested that the labor market's strengthening or even that it's stabilizing, that would certainly play into our decisions going forward. There were strongly differing views about how to proceed in December. A further reduction in the policy rate at the December meeting is not a foregone conclusion.
There you go. It's not a foregone conclusion. But there was an interesting note that came out of this. I can't remember if it was in this clip or if I might be mixing up the overall press conference. But for this decision, there was actually dissent again about what they should do. This time, we actually had 2 different versions of dissenting views. We had the camp that said no change, and then we had a camp that said half-point change, and we ended up splitting the baby and went 0.25-point change. So, look, it's not a monolith over there. There's people speaking their minds, which I like. But at the same time, if everyone agreed on kind of the direction we were going, it would mean that the picture of the economic forecast would be a little more clear. But at the same time, I think with the decisions about how to proceed aside, I think the vision that they have presented is pretty clear, which is, labor market's still cooling. Inflation, is it up? Yeah, but we're less worried about that than the jobs. So that's where we stand right now. And in my humble opinion, that's why I think we are going to get another 0.25 point cut in December. Sorry, Jerome, I am anticipating it.
And right now, if we pull up Fed Watch, I have it open if you want me to share.
I got her. Ba-ba-ba.
So what are we at here?
37 days. Let's go. Funny number. We're at 69%.
Hell
good number.
Yeah.
Markets are thinking we're going to be cutting again in December.
Yeah, so for the folks, let me explain this one real quick. We have our charts here. This smaller bar is pretty much saying no change. This is the current or the new interest rate that we just set, and this is a quarter point cut below it. So the smallest possible amount that you could make, but it would be in line with most of the cuts that we've had previously. And yes, it's sitting right there at a very hilarious 69%. Again, FedWatch is based on the futures markets, so that is where they pulled this data from. If we want a betting market, then we should head over to Polymarket and see what they have. Fed decrease in December. What do you have for me? 67. So different sources of data, but at the same time, they usually are pretty close. I'm not going to lie. So what we're looking at here is we're looking at 67% for a decrease in change. But what's interesting about this one is that previously it was all the way up to 90%, and this is October 27th. So this is 2 days before the press conference that just happened for the current decision. So as it stands, betting markets say 67% chance. There's about $2.2 million worth of money behind that one, and about $1.8 million behind a half point change, and then about 1.7 behind no change. So I wouldn't say it's completely lopsided, but as far as the actual percentages goes, yes, we do have a favorite. All right, tell you what, let's bring it back together a little bit here. Why do we care? Why does this matter? Why do we always talk about the Federal Reserve?
Because it affects the markets, and we
there we go.
are in crypto, which is a market driven by Fed's decision making and Fed policies. I know some people can get bored by it, but it is important. You have to pay attention to these things. Look, especially when we're trying to figure out, when's the top of this cycle going to be? Have we hit it? Have we not hit it? I think the vast majority believe we haven't hit it yet. I know I haven't. That's my belief, and most people I've talked to. But we still need, as we're getting closer to what will be the top, I don't know if it'll be Q1, maybe we run into Q2 a little bit. It's a very, very interesting cycle. So we really need to be paying attention to all these data points.
Agreed. What we're looking at here is the big headline news for us crypto bros is, yes, we got another quarter point rate cut, continuing the trend. But also, it's a lot less people care about this one, but we care about it especially, which is that in this one, they actually talked about, look, we are trying to end quantitative tightening. We've gotten the reserves down for the balance sheet to the levels that they want to hold at. And then pretty much from there, they're just going to be making minor adjustments to ensure that the money markets don't get tied up and that GDP is not affected due to the liquidity in the bond market effectively. So we've ended quantitative tightening. We have not started quantitative easing, but guess what? That's the next step. The big change this meeting was that we actually officially ended quantitative tightening. Last meeting, we reduced quantitative tightening even further down to like bare bones levels. Today, or excuse me, Wednesday, we actually got the kind of the declaration, if you will, like, look, yep, we're done. So overall, is it pumping immediately? No, probably not. Is it going to affect the overall outlook of the situation? Yes, it will. The other half of this, though, is, well, it's why they're kind of doing what they're doing, which is the jobs. The jobs market is not looking as hot right now. So from an individual level, is that great, especially job seekers? No, that sucks, and my heart goes out to all you guys that are currently looking for jobs. That is a pain in the ass. So I am sorry about that, but I wish you the best of luck.
Look,
it might be bad for individuals, but the question for me is, does it actually affect the overall appetite for investors? Does this change it to a risk off or keep it as somewhat of a risk on investment environment? And that's kind of the question that I roll back to on these ones.
I have a quick thought for all those of you out there who are looking for jobs. Don't try and find don't go out there with the me mindset of what are the jobs that I can do. Go out there and look at like what are people's problems and can I solve them. That's a better way to put yourself into the job market instead of going around and being like, oh, me. What's the stuff that fits me? What are the things that has to do with me? Go out there and look at what are the things that are costing other people money, and can I fix that? That's it. When you shift your mindset from being self-focused to being other person focused, that's where all of the opportunity in the world really starts opening up, and that's like the difference between a lot of normies and small business owners and things like that. So if you're out there looking for a job and you want a new job, my advice to you, my unsolicited advice is stop thinking about yourself and start thinking about other people. Find other people who have money and be like, hey, that person has money. I have skill. That person also has a problem that I can solve. Like, this is basically just a perfect fucking marriage. That's how literally all of the jobs that I have ever had in my life have been solved in that fashion. So that's something that's worked for me. So if you think that might work for you, then go for it. Otherwise, you're more than welcome to go and fill out resumes and go job hunting and play basically the Tinder game of employment. That's my thoughts on it.
That's one way of comparing it to the old Tinder game of employment. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It sounds nightmarish.
That's what it is. When you fill out resumes, you're basically scrolling on Tinder, but for employment. You're not, I mean, you can hone your Tinder game for sure. You can take better pictures. You can have catchier, phrases and stuff, but at the same time you're basically like you're just fucking, you and the employer are both swiping right or swiping left. So it's like, if you don't come up to them like a fucking like a dude who goes out to the bars or whatever, instead of swiping on Tinder, if you don't go up and you approach the person, be like, hey, I'm going to entertain you and I'm going to solve your problem and I'm going to be valuable to you specifically, rather than trying to just kind of shotgun, like throw your fishing lines or throw out the dragnet and try and catch everything. That's the way that I personally look at it, is like trying to find a job with resumes and with job applications and all that stuff is like swiping on Tinder, versus finding people who have problems and then solving them for them in exchange for money. That's the better way. And that's all the jobs are anyways. At the end of the day, is somebody somewhere has a problem and it's costing them money and you solve it. And so they give you a little bit of that money.
Fair enough. Wise words from Uncle Will. Thank you.
Thanks, man.
Alrighty, Brendan, I see that you have requested something come up here on the screen. Sorry, different one. Bada bing, bada boom. All right, good sir. What are we looking at here?
Yeah, I think this it just kind of continues a conversation that we're having. They're talking specifically about quantitative tightening, or QT, coming to an end, potentially December 1st, a little bit sooner than they had anticipated. And what happens after quantitative tightening? Well, that means they might start allowing more money into the markets. More money allows banks to loan, more money goes in, and everything that's at risk generally starts to have a better day. So when you start to get quantitative easing, risk on assets become more popular as investment. So we haven't seen risk on assets really become popular just yet. So what are your thoughts?
I think that this is what we really should be paying attention to the most. So obviously the article goes into a good explanation, which you didn't quite get from the press conference or just the one-page sheet that they released. But what's going on is that they're stopping the quantitative tightening on December 1st. What it's doing is that it stops draining liquidity from the financial system and it reinvests proceeds from maturing securities, effectively injecting them back into the market. So what we're seeing here is that this really is going to be the thing that starts the increase in the money supply. If you were paying attention to the M2 money supply in correlation to the Bitcoin prices and overall just asset prices from last cycle, this was a very big indicator of it. Granted, that was an injection that we've never seen the scale of before, thanks to good old COVID-19 and the shutdowns and everything. But that is one of the big things that we can point to when it comes to the crypto markets and what's really going to pump it. So when the overall liquidity in the world goes up, it means that people are looking for places to park those assets and try to avoid inflation or just try to capture gains in a time when there's a lot of growth happening. So we're waiting for that time. We got a lot of growth happening to make it to really capture it for ourselves. So the TLDR here is they made the announcement. It doesn't really go into full effect until December 1st, but the announcement has been made. And well, since then, we're stopping what we've been doing since 2022. So it's pretty much in line with the 4-year cycle a bit, which is, we bottomed in 22. And well, that's when we also started quantitative tightening. So if we actually start the quantitative easing, it would also line up very nicely. I'm just saying.
Are we going to have an up November?
I hope we do. Hear me out. I think it's actually potentially likely. So speaking of which, by the way, we did unfortunately close October red by 369. 3.69%. So
Hey,
yeah, there you go. That was for Will.
Markets
You know,
markets have some humor in them.
that they do. But so look, was October the October we were all hoping for? Well, it depends at which point you took profits if you did. Because if you did, we did hit new all-time in October. But then we also had the greatest single liquidation event in crypto history. And then we also had US and China trade tariffs going a little ballistic there before they got the negotiating table back together and reeled it back in. So were there disruptions? Yes. Was there an all-time high? Yes. November, I think it's lining up to be a good month. The reason that I say that is because, well, if the 60-day cycle count is correct as I have it, then that means that we pretty much started a new cycle count like 2 weeks ago. So halfway through that cycle, 30 days in, is going to be sometime in November, meaning that there's a good chance that we can, have a little bit of movement towards the upside in November. So that's why I'm saying it.
Yeah, it's interesting. So if you look at, can you pull that back up for a second?
Ooh, absolutely.
So what I like to look at is, if we're looking at 4-year cycles, I like to look right now in 25. I like to look back at 21. 21, well, we had a pretty low November, December, but we had a very high October. So this one, because October ended red, I think gives us a chance to turn green. And then if we go back to 2017, all green. October, November, December. So we kind of see a little bit of a variety here, at least from the last 2 cycles. Granted, look, it's not a lot of we haven't had a lot of cycles. We're following as best as possible, but again, it's still small amounts of data points. So we'll see. I expect November to be pretty good, but I wouldn't be surprised if we don't really start to blow off until Q1. But do I expect to see a new all-time high on Bitcoin by the end of the year? Which possibly.
I straight up do.
Yep. There's a very possibility, good possibility, but I also think we'll get another new all-time high next year. So I'm still looking top cycle sometime Q1, maybe Q2, but again, we just have to take a wait and see approach.
That's true. Tell you what, speaking of data points,
I'll take the tops in. The top is in side, not because I know anything, but just because you guys are both agreeing on the same thing. So I'm just going to be contrarian and say the top's in, boys. It's all down from here.
Will, you say that you're taking a contrarian stance, but
contrarian to you two. I don't know what I presume that everyone in the crypto market is probably saying that as well. Are they?
Well, no, there's actually there's one camp that is very much in line with you there. Will, do you remember what happened pretty much to the day about 4 years ago?
Was it FTX?
Nope, that was the top of the last cycle. We are just right about at that 4-year mark when it comes to the cycle if you measure top to top. So,
really?
There is a camp out there that's saying, look, 4-year cycle's undefeated, top's in. I personally don't.
The top would have been in when was the top? It was like 125 or something, right?
Something like that.
Yes, 126,000 on October 6th.
Okay. Wow. So like a month ago.
Yep.
And I've actually seen quite a few people saying they think it's the top of the market. I don't think it's the majority of people, but I've seen some very large accounts saying, also keep in mind, everybody wants to be able to call the top, and they want to be able to say next cycle that they called the top. So people are always going to be putting it out there. And it's already seemed like some of those people have walked back their top call, by the way. Now, that being said, there are still people, like Zenith said, that are saying, hey, no, this is, I'm taking 90% of my money into stables. Now, I'm not there, but, if the market changes, the money supply, or the Fed does something weird, there are possibilities that could keep us from moving up. But with all of the information we currently have, I don't see it. I mean, I bet we have I bet tomorrow morning we have a buy announcement from MicroStrategy on Bitcoin.
I think we're going to get
Polymarket Hards on that.
Well, let's see if we can find something for that.
But while you're finding that, I will add the caveat that I'm only taking this because you two guys both said one thing, and so I'm literally only fading your guys' decision, not because I know anything, but just because I've heard two people say the same thing. So I'm just taking the opposite side. I have no idea what the fuck's going on.
That's fair.
So,
But it's funny you say that, though, because once again, your crystal ball TA actually lines up very well with some real world TA.
really?
Because the top was November 10th of 2021. We're at November 2nd,
Ooh,
2025.
happy Marine Corps birthday.
Hey,
That was
there
the
you
top.
go.
Hell yeah. I like
The
it.
Devil Dogs. By the way, I did find what we were looking for.
Oh, Johnny's got a thought. There is no the top, only just local tops. There's always a new top if you stick around long enough. Shout out to Johnny. You're fucking A right,
Correct.
broski.
Well said, sir. Well said.
Mhm.
That's why a long-term outlook is imperative for crypto.
Also,
That's
good to see you, Funk Master Hex. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. What's up, broski?
True. Alrighty, gents. We touched on it a little bit, but let's actually dig into the numbers. Job market, or rather, lack of jobs, negative jobs, if you will. Promotion to customer. There you go.
For what? For what?
Layoffs. We have some new data on layoffs. So this is coming to us from Intelligence. This is on October 30th, so 2 days after our Federal Reserve meeting. Here's what we got going on. GM laying off around 1,200 employees. Paramount laying off roughly 2,000. UPS announced layoffs of 48,000, 14,000 in manager positions, 34,000 in operational roles. Amazon announced it would cut 1,400 jobs. And then Target also had layoffs about 1,000 jobs as well. And they are not the only ones. So this is, granted, this is for all of 2025. But look, this is the latest update on what's going on. And we are now seeing an uptick in layoffs. So the story of a lot this year when it came to the labor market was that we saw layoffs back in December of 2024, January, February of 2025. Since then, we got a lot of revisions to jobs added estimates, and they kept getting revised down. So there were a lot fewer jobs added this year than were originally expected. That started the trend that Jerome Powell identified, which caused them to actually shift stance and start going towards trying to work on the labor side of things instead of the inflation side of things. And now this is another data point kind of hammering down that the job situation is actually looking a little bit worse than we originally thought. So if that's the case, then I would point to this as something to say like, look, yeah, they're probably going to keep cutting rates to try to encourage investment going.
Yeah, and additionally, I don't see on there, but I saw Target was laying off like 1,000 positions, 1,000 employees. But in addition to the 1,000 employees they're laying off, they were actually eliminating 800 of their open positions. So that's like 1,800. You could look at it as 1,800 jobs not being in the market
not
anymore.
Only letting
but
people go,
they weren't the only one. I saw others in addition to the list that you see here.
For sure. For me, there's
just saying we don't need as many positions. Yep.
Yeah. For me, there's two big ones here that are kind of telling. Number one is UPS. The other is Amazon. Gentlemen, it is now November. What are the next two holidays that are coming up?
We've got Thanksgiving and October 75th.
Yes, December, if you will.
Christmas. You have the largest. You have Black Friday, and you have Cyber Monday, the two biggest shopping days of the year.
Yep, and that's on top of the usual increase when it comes
to people off before that. Very surprising.
Yeah, this is notoriously one of the busiest times of year when it comes to retail and also for shipping. Because we got Black Monday, we got Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and then we also just have people trying to send Christmas presents to all their loved ones across the country. So traditionally, during this time of the year, we actually see an increase in temp work from folks like UPS and Amazon, but instead we're actually seeing the opposite here. So that's why I'm looking at this one as like, this is actually slightly concerning.
It is. It is.
Call me crazy. I'm just identifying the trends and trying to point them out. That's on just a general basis, but yes, thank you.
I've been sounding the alarm on the job market before, and I feel like before people were really talking about it. I was saying that the numbers were much worse. The underlying numbers were much worse than what the unemployment number was showing, and that was true, and actually maybe even worse than I was even thinking. It's really quite bad out there. thankful to have a job myself. And anyone who's out there looking, find a way, like Will said, to set yourself apart and to well, if you
Solve
don't,
problems.
yeah, get a skill to solve problems. Yes, exactly.
That's true. Again, this points back to like, this bad news is good news for some people. It's that weird double-edged sword thing where it's like, look, as the individual, this is not great. It means that job opportunities are looking grim, hirings are low, layoffs are going up. The people that are kind of like morbidly cheering this, not like they're celebrating that people are losing their jobs, but it's for folks that were hoping to see rate cuts. This is something that's going to fuel rate cuts. So
Yes.
I know, like, look, in the crypto sphere, there's a weird degree of nihilism mixed in our memes, if you will. And we do look at rate cuts as something that's going to pump the overall market. Hate to see it happen to individual folks, but the overall thing from the investment side of the house is that, look, layoffs, this number of layoffs at this timing in conjunction with low hiring for the rest of the year, it is going to fuel rate cuts. And hopefully for the crypto folks, it should be one of those things that could encourage quantitative easing, aka a little bit of time of free money. In the time of free money, it's easier to open businesses. The cost of borrowing money to open businesses and then hire people goes down. So lower interest rates means theoretically investment in businesses go up. When that stuff is available easier, it means people are also looking for places to park their money against inflation, which is ultimately inevitable from that kind of stuff to a degree. So yeah, it's the morbid good news, if you will. So I'm not celebrating it, but at the same time, these are the signs that we've been looking for literal years at this point.
Yeah, and look, this, like I said it earlier, but the job market is very worrisome. And Jerome said, look, if the job market starts to look stronger, then we might not cut more rates, but that's not the case. So he, if you really look deep into his words and read between the lines, we're getting a cut in December.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I mean, we finished 2024 looking at 2025 saying, we are predicting 4 rate cuts. Well, we got 2. We can get 1 more possibly, and we can kind of count January maybe. So who knows? Maybe there's a rate cut starting off 2026 as well. But
now,
only time will tell.
Zenith, let me ask you this. What do you think a healthy Fed funds rate is for, a long-term market? Like, where would you want the Fed funds rate to be sitting?
I think that the answer to that question is one that no one's going to like, which is that it's whatever is appropriate for the environment that it's in. If you want me to, I mean, there are times when, like, looking at like a 7% interest rate from the Federal Reserve itself actually makes sense for what's going on. It means it says that despite this high interest rate, businesses are still able to hire people, take out debt effectively, make a profit on it, and jobs are secure as well. There are other times, similar times to now, which is like, look, we're dealing with inflation. We're also dealing with the job market. Therefore, getting somewhere down to like maybe 3.5% or even 3% is kind of the ultimate goal for where this should be going. This is the concept of R*, as Jerome Powell put it, which is the neutral rate. It is the rate where it is neither restrictive nor easing at the same time. It is that perfect balance. It's gonna change depending on the context, but like personally, I think it'd be cool if it was lower. That way, it means that life is easier for folks, easier to make that mortgage payment, easier to open that business, easier to just do everything that's regarded to the interest rates, which is kind of crazy to think about, but a lot of it is actually related to it when it comes to the economy.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I wanted you to touch on was the neutral rate. I think that Jerome did mention it in his speech again. Talked about the neutral rate. He's like, look, we might be getting closer to a neutral rate here. I think, 2 more cuts might get us to that neutral rate territory. But again, if the job market continues to look sour, I don't know what that number is going to be. I really don't know where they're going to try to keep the rate. I mean, look, it is also interesting. They talk about a neutral rate, but then they had 0% for like a decade, right? So it's like, it's really hard to take what they say seriously sometimes.
Well, how often do they switch out as well? Like, the person, like Jerome isn't the only person in the Fed that has decision-making authority, right? Like he comes and goes and there's new people. He's just like the guy that does the speaking for it right now, right? He's not like the man with the band hammer that says this is the way it's going to be. like, no ifs, ands, or buts, right?
He has a lot to say, but there are other people that actually vote.
That's very true. Yes. He's not the only one there. He's just he's the front man. He's the front man for the band. Like, he's the guy that gets in front of the camera, and then he also leads the discussion going on. So he does not have ultimate power, but he's kind of the one that everyone points to. So, gosh.
What do we got here?
This is the interest rate chart over time, the effective federal funds rate. When you said we were at near zero for like 10 years, I was like, when was that? And I was like, oh yeah, that was after 2008 all the way up until like 2015. And then we even just barely bumped up to like a 0.5 percentage point. And then we started our climb up, and then we had COVID, and then we had it at like effectively zero for like a full year there. And then, yep, we got our steep climb all the way back up to, gosh, what was that? Like 5.25. I don't think we ever hit 5.5, but we hit 5.25.
Yeah, I don't like seeing a chart like that. That means that the Fed made some decisions that took too long to transition to a new policy. When you see things have to go up that much, it means that they were a little bit late getting rates started.
Yeah, but if it makes you feel any worse, we can actually make it even worse.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Oh boy.
19%. Let's go. That's in 1982, by the way. Oh my gosh.
I missed the gold standard.
It was.
I wish I'd have known about it. Yeah.
Look, the interest rate thing, when you ask the question of like, where do you think like a good federal funds rate is? It's whatever is necessary for the times. That is like, it's the dirty, unpopular answer. I would love to say 2% and just be like, yeah, if we can just keep it at 2%, everything's going to be great. It's like, no, you're going to deal with some consequences as a result of it. And to kind of like flip your statement there on its head, which is like, you can look at this chart and you can say, wow, these guys are terrible at managing this. It's like almost they're making their own problems. That is one way to look at it. The other more generous interpretation would be like they're using this in response to the overlying economic conditions. But then if you also take it to that second and third order level of thinking, it's like, okay, well, how did we get to these economic conditions? Well, it was the economic conditions that happened before it. What were those influenced by? Yes, the Federal Reserve and their treatment of economic policy as well. So I don't think you can squarely lay the blame at the Federal Reserve. Lord knows I want to. Believe me, I do. But at the same time, I think if you're trying to be intellectually honest about it, you can't put 100% of it there.
No.
So overall, I think the institution is terrible, and we should probably find something else to do. But as it stands right now, the U.S. dollar is still intact. So, I mean, I can't knock them all the way on it,
And I will say the Fed does not control how much money the government spends. That was a big problem at this point here when we were coming down from the vid, and they can only try to adopt policies that try to counteract some of that. But like you said, they don't have full say about how the market works. And Jerome said that many times. He loves to tell people that. Nonetheless, they were still late raising rates, and that's on them.
That's true. I mean, gosh, that's another kind of like third rail of politics, which is everyone wants the government to spend less, but they don't want their favorite programs cut. It's like, okay, well, everyone has different favorite programs, so what's actually getting cut? And the answer is nothing. We're just going to spend more.
I don't know. Has your day-to-day changed since the government shutdowns happened?
No, my day-to-day change. My day-to-day has not changed at all. And in fact, look, is it a slightly morbid note that I'm that weirdo that likes government shutdowns? Because I think it demonstrates to the people that you can live your life without as much government influence and sometimes even be better off for it. Yes. And we'll also acknowledge that there are people that are dependent on the government for jobs and handouts and stuff like that, or support. And like, it helps their lives. But at the same time, it's like, look, you're addicted to crack. You got to get off it at some point. Otherwise, the fact remains you're still just addicted to crack.
I don't know if I would call it addicted to crack so much as I would say, like, you just can't let go of mommy's nipple if you're just sitting there latched onto the teat until you're fucking 43 years old. Like, what are you doing with your life? That's my 2 cents.
Look, I agree with you. It's a complicated thing. You can't just like look at everyone and be like, stop Stop being bums getting money from the government. There are some very legitimate uses of government power for this kind of thing. I would argue that, I mean, like, call me biased because I fall into this group, but I think that if you make the bargain with your armed forces, like, look, you're going to join, you're going to have no choice in what you do, but we will still try to support you afterwards. That kind of stuff makes sense. Are there going to be the disabled, the unfortunate percentage of society that falls off the back end of the bell curve where they actually do need legitimate help? Yes. I happen to also think that we should make an environment where the incentive is to help these people without the use of the government. But as it stands right now, the situation we're in is that the government is one of the largest providers of that stuff. I mean, just look at Medicaid, Medicare. It is one of the biggest spenders of the US government. I want to say like each of those programs accounts for just about $1 trillion each. So does the military also spend close to $1 trillion? Yes. But at the same time, I would argue that is a bit of a different argument than try to provide healthcare for people, because one of them kind of keeps the world as a free place where free trade is available thanks to great things like the Freedom of the Seas Act, where the U.S. Navy just drives battle groups through the ocean just to let people know, hey, the seas are free. Don't mess with them.
They're not free. They're controlled by the red, white, and blue guy. Very different from free. But the red, white, and blue guy does a pretty good job of leaving fair game for everyone, but like big dog's in charge.
That's true.
But I think it's a good point, Zenith. I always say the United States dollar's value lies in its military might. You say, okay, what backs the dollar? Nothing, right? Well, actually, a pretty big freaking arsenal of weapons backs the US dollar. So if you agree with that or not, that's fine. It's just the nature of the beast. It is what it is. And so therefore, I do think there's value in the dollar. Unfortunately, we don't get to control the dollar or how much the dollar inflates. The government does that for us. So they essentially just tax us and then steal our money through inflation, which is why we're looking at an long-term outlook in the crypto sphere.
That's true. Tell you what, gents, let's go ahead and take a quick moment to do our halftime show special, if you will. Mr. Will Stevenson, please hit us.
It's time for chat motherfucking shout outs, ladies and germs. Let's fucking get after it.
Excellent. We did hit him earlier, but we like him that much. We'll hit him twice. Mr. Funkmaster Hex coming in here. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Good evening to you, good sir, with the drink, as always. Love to see it. Always happy to see Johnny Chaos in here when he pops up. We always have a fantastic time with you as well. He had a good one here. He says, on the way up, your dollars lose purchasing power. A 2x means your dollar only gets you half as much. Well said, sir. Yeah, another one.
See a lot of 2x's, Mr. Johnny Chaos. 2x would be a good start.
Yeah. Yet another one here. It says, top talk is for tourists. If you're a resident, it's about building a position for future tops so you actually have a bag when we do hit them. The in and out game gets you a smaller bag and worse entries.
That's a really good point. The top talk is for tourists. Like if you're entering and exiting, are you really here? Nah, you're just a snowbird.
For sure.
No, but I still think it's important. Sorry, Zenith.
No, you're good.
I still think it's important for us to try to figure it out because, long term, if you're just DCAing, consistently, you're going to be fine. But there are times when there's a better time to put your hard-earned dollars into the market, and that's what we're trying to figure out. When can I put more DCA money in?
Yep.
Oh gosh. Look, I think it comes down to difference in strategy for sure, which is that the difference in the mindset I think Johnny's really highlighting here is that there are people that are invested in this for the long term, and then there are people that are actually trying to just like make quick trades as a way to keep building gains on top of gains, as opposed to the people that are really going for those long-term investment plays. And even then, I still do think that those folks will take profits and compound along the way. And look, the historical data, I think, shows that it's reliable. Is the buy and hold forever strategy one of the most solid strategies? That's pretty easy to do because it requires minimal decision making. Yeah, for sure. But at the same time, though, the numbers, when you look at it, when it comes to what you can achieve with nope, that's my wrong presentation. What you can achieve with actually trying to time the market a little bit based on what we've seen from historical trends, I think the numbers speak for themselves. it can go up real fast, real quick. And sorry, I'm digging for something here. Tell you what, Will, can you hop on the
Yes.
chats? We got 2 more I want to hit out.
Yes, we've been joined by Mr. Moonpilled Rational Optics, who shows us the fire emojis. Good to see you, Mr. Moonpilled Rational Optics. Good real life friend of mine. Fucking love to see you, broski. And then we've also got a new name that I've not seen before. Shout out to Tresfalem Arayaya. Hey, gents, good to be back and listen to your wisdom, hoping for better days. Good to see you, Mr. Tresfalem Araya. Man, forgive me. I'm normally decent at names, but this one just escapes me. So good to see you, broski. I haven't seen you in the chats before, so welcome to the Degen Roundtable. As far as the wisdom goes, I'm glad that you think that what we say is wisdom. This makes me feel good, and I appreciate those words, amigo. Good to see you, and glad to have you with us. We're all going to win together over here. That's what we've got for the rest of the chat. Shout outs, Mr. Zenith. Have you found your thing? I see you've got a chart there up on the share screen.
No, that is, gosh, I wanted to show. I actually ran an analysis comparing 2 different models where you do the Bitcoin buy and hold forever model versus you try to actually identify like market tops and then also do a progressive DCA strategy built on that as well. And the overall difference was that buying and holding, depending on where you start and stop your math, really matters, 1. But 2, the drawdown, if you hold through drawdowns, is where you really lose the most. If you can even avoid that a little bit and return to stables at some point and then re-enter the market at lower conditions, you can just compound so fast, so hard. Like it was almost a factor of like 3x difference. And I even gave a big like safety factor in there. And I assumed like you were going to capture like 80% of the low and 80% of the high. And even then, it still was a factor of 3, the difference between the two. And that's per cycle as well, that it just keeps increasing by that factor. So it goes up. It goes up fast.
Excellent. By the way, we've also been joined by Mr. Beyond All, who says, "What's up, degens? Are the degenning days behind us forever?" Bro, there is no end to the degenning days. We may be out of money. We may be out of cryptocurrency. We may be out of denominal value of your promissory notes that the United States promises the Treasury Secretary or the Secretary of the Fed that he will pay them back 20 units of something at some point in the future. But we're still here. We're still degens. We're still rocking and rolling and drinking and hooting and hollering and having all sorts of fun. So as long as you see this show up and you see the responses in the Telegram, our degen days are not behind us. And then Johnny comes in saying, "If is a very big word for 2 letters. Sometimes you don't get the retrace." That's a good mindset to have, and we cannot discount that thought. There are
Well,
often
especially for
times
this cycle,
retraces.
right? There are some people that have this instead of us getting the big retraces as we have in the past. Maybe, Bitcoin has a slow up and to the right rather than, dip and then all-time high, dip and all-time high. For, some pretty prominent people, at least entertain that theory for this cycle. I'm not ready to fully discount the 4-year cycle yet because I think it's important. But what it costs to mine a Bitcoin right now is pretty pricey. And for that to be worthwhile, the price needs to dictate that as well. So we shall see.
That's true. I did find it, by the way. So apologies for the self-indulgence on this one. But I put this together and I went over it. Who doesn't love the good psychology of a market cycle chart? The most important chart you're ever going to see right there.
It's a good one.
And then the idea was trying to teach people like, look, round tripping is a thing that you can very easily do. And if you overlay the ETH chart from last cycle to the market psychology chart, it lines up pretty good. I'm just saying.
Yeah. The highs aren't as high and the lows aren't as low, but yeah, it does keep the main shape.
Yeah. Here was, if you just want to buy and just DCA every week, the gray line there is your overall portfolio size, and then blue is the Bitcoin price. Like, yeah, this is probably for about like 4 years time frame. It works out pretty good. Then we had the other one, which is try to be efficient, buy low and sell high. And it also went pretty well also. If at the end of it, it was like, look, the never sell DCA technically did outperform slightly here, but then we also have to look at the drawdown, and the drawdown, even for a assumed 70% bear market, which we have not gotten yet, it was saying that pretty much like, look, your never sell DCA ends up with 23,000, and your buy low sell high hybrid model ends up at 59,000. And this is to start the next cycle at the low, meaning that at the start of the next cycle, you have 23,000 versus you have 59,000. It grows fast real quick.
Unless you just want to pay attention based on coins and not based on dollar value of coins, which I think is a realistic, way to play the market, because we are oftentimes tied up to too much in what the coins cost from a dollar standpoint when that's just inflating to no end. So there is a good argument to be made of focusing on coins and not on dollars.
That's true.
Johnny says something
point.
here now.
Johnny's got a good one as well. Whatever you sell, you have to be comfortable with losing that position forever. You aren't going to get $1 ETH or $10 Bitcoin anymore. Well said, sir. Look,
risk in both directions.
Yes, there is risk in every aspect of what we're doing out here. Like, you just got to accept it. Also, the reason that we're in crypto is because volatility is a feature, not a bug. So it's another giant bit of risk that you have to take on as well. But look, to those of you out there that are willing to forego all the risks and enter the arena, I salute you, because we're also in there too, and we want to see us all win together. So I love it when I see people out there trying to make the most of it. But also, a very, very healthy part is understanding that when you're stepping into the arena, you're stepping into the UFC cage. Protect yourself at all times.
Protect yourself. I got fucking flies buzzing all around me. I have to protect my fucking self. It's damn cow pasture job site out here. Flies everywhere. Speaking of things we got everywhere, we've got Mr. Eddie Gastelum has joined us, who says Diamond Hands, Hex, and Pulse Chain are going to the moon this recycle. I like that. That's a fun plan. Words there. Yep.
Yeah. He also
they're
had
not going to the moon. Oh, well, maybe. Fuck if I know.
Saying, I love Pulse Chain and Hex, but it's a long-term hold for me. So put it in the safe and forget about it.
Hey, there you go. Hey, there's actually a code built into the protocol that allows you to do that. Believe it or not, where you can destroy it now and not worry about it till later, and then take it out. So there you go.
Pulse Chain likely. I'm fighting.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Pulse Chain likely already bottoming out, so is the only hopium left. Pulse Chain likely already bottoming out is the only
that we've already hit the bottom of Pulse Chain is what he's saying.
I mean, it depends on like your mindset, man. If you're still making money in real life, if you still have a job, if you still like are able to take your hands and manipulate the resources that are at or near the Earth's surface in such a way as to generate a profit, and you take some of that profit and you put it into these like lows, then you might win later. If you're looking to sell, then now's not the time to do it, probably. So like, you can be happy no matter what the scenario is. You just have to change your mindset and change your strategy. If price is low, buy time. If price is high, sell time. If it's not what you want, then it's wait time. Like that's all that there is to it. And like, you can't make the market do what you want it to do. It's the market's going to do what the market's going to do, because that's everyone else doing what they want. So if enough people say, you know what, the price is low, I'm buying, and then the supply gets scooped up, and then voila, the price is no longer low. It's just it's all up here. It's all up here, man. You just have to change what's up here depending on what you want your outcome to be. So those are my thoughts.
Go ahead, Z. No, go ahead.
Oh, I was about to launch into TA on Pulse Chain, so please take it before I start going down a rabbit hole.
I was just gonna say, I get a pretty nice bonus in January. So if prices stay low, I mean, there's a bet. There's something I'm looking forward to. If it goes up, that's great too.
That's true. Alrighty, well, let's head over to one of our favorite websites. That's going to be none other than gopulse.com. That's right, baby. All you Hexkins and Pulsekins love it. So do I. All right. To piggyback off your comment there, hear me out. I think what you're saying is The hopium is that we've bottomed out for the cycle, which would be good because it means that if you've bottomed out, then you're going up, or you will not return to that. I think a very realistic standpoint is to understand that Pulse Chain and Hex are still very much altcoins, so we will definitely be affected when there is a drawdown. And I know Johnny Chaos is going to roast me for saying that kind of stuff, but I do believe that the track record shows that these kind of events do happen at a regular frequency. And when it comes to altcoins, they also bleed the most. So if you're looking at like a 99% drawdown or even a 90 or 95, that means that price at some point does have to go up rather high in order to ensure that this bottom here remains the bottom. So let's say, let's be conservative here. We went back down to all-time low prices for a 90% drop. It would mean that Pulse Chain got up to a 3 zeros and a 182. So that is effectively it should just be a 10x, I believe. Yeah, it's close to it. So it's a little bit higher than previous all-time highs. I think for a cycle, realistically, if you're looking for healthy projects from the TA perspective, I'd like to see something probably akin to maybe at least a 2x from the previous all-time highs. So we're looking at like getting up there 3 zeros and a 1.7. 3 zeros and a 3.4. If we wanted to go even further than that and say, like, look, if we hit like a 10x or something, that would also be pretty good for a new project as well. Getting up to about like a tenth of a penny at that point, like a 90% correction from there is going to get you right back down to about the previous all-time highs from this cycle that happened back in February of 2024. And then if we also want to get a little more bearish on the downside, saying a 95% drop, it's going to take us down even below SAC prices, and then going all the way as crazy as like, let's call it a 98, then that's going to take us down to some of the current prices that we've had. Pretty much that first bottom that we had, that was 36% of SAC price, that kind of stuff. So I'm right there with you when it comes to the fact that I think that these are long-term plays. I think these are great projects, great fundamentals. The fact that it's so decentralized is fantastic. The fact that it has a rabid user base and community is also fantastic. And I happen to think that a lot more people are waking up to it. Shoot, Brendan, last week, you were the one that was showing us all the different X profiles that were like, this Pulse Chain thing looks pretty good. Might have to hop in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And look, there've been more. And one thing you always have to wonder, are some people coming into grift, right? Always question that.
Yes.
So we've seen a lot of people come to Pulse Chain, look like they're model citizens, then launch coin and extract value. So you have to be careful about that. But I've seen some really, really positive momentum on X when it comes to Pulse Chain from big accounts, by the way. Now, a question, is someone paying those accounts?
If they are, it's not Richard Hart, because he famously doesn't pay people to do that.
And then another question, does it matter if they're paying them or not? Is marketing?
That's
actually a good point too.
Question.
So for me, it doesn't really matter if they're getting paid or not. I think it's positive momentum for the ecosystem in general.
That's true. Will, you were talking to me on Friday. There's somebody that was getting in and having a good time with the Pulse Chain ecosystem. Who was that? Was that Raxi or was that someone else?
So yeah, so there's Raxi. Raxi is one of the newer ones in the ecosystem that's wondering about having fun.
Yeah, he's been very, very, very bullish recently. And then there was somebody
and active. Yeah.
And then you had another one. I thought it was a lady who got one of the tablets.
Yeah, Kim Tran. She's been in a lot of the spaces that Tam's been putting on. So she does a very good job of asking fantastic questions and letting us know where we can do better from like an onboarding perspective to make this a lot easier for new folks to learn and to figure out.
And then Hex as well, HEKS, not HAX, HEX, but HEKS. He's recently come to the ecosystem, and he said he's now 65% of his bags are in Pulse Chain.
There you go.
Interesting. He doesn't have a lot of followers like Raxi, but nonetheless,
it's true. 65% of my total crypto net worth is now bridged to Pulse Chain.
There you go.
The more I spend time with the community, the more I want to bridge that last 35%. Bullish AF. That's right.
What an interesting profile name.
Right?
OX Hex. There you go.
It's almost like he was destined to be part of this ecosystem.
There you go. It just works. Yeah. It just works.
So I'm going to pull up. Can you pull up Johnny's comment?
Yes. Look, Good, sir. Again, we're going to agree with you on this one a lot. Excuse me. Different. Ba-ba-da-ba. Don't assume you'll get these prices back ever. You aren't getting Hex for 4 zeros and a 5. It's never been back. Say it hits $1 and you get a 90% dip. That's still 10-cent Hex, not sub-penny. Look, you are very correct. Hear me out, though. You said Hex hits $1. I'm here for that. Let's go.
Even if combined Hex hits $1, I will be a very happy man. However,
absolutely.
I think for it to be successful within the next couple of years, it needs to hit all-time highs again. Now, you can debate what all-time high is, because Hex on Pulse Chain is a new coin. Hex on Ethereum is not a new coin. We have a historical chart there. New, I was just talking new as in this cycle. So I think it's interesting to think about it that way. But yeah, I could certainly see dollar Hex still in the next couple of years. That would not surprise me at all.
Oh, for sure. And by the way, the heart of what Johnny's saying on this one is like, just look at the Bitcoin market. There's people that like even us who are still kind of like newish to crypto compared to like some of the old heads, if you will. Those guys were buying Bitcoin for like under $1 or even under a cent. And then granted, at the time, there's probably people that like took profits and they're like, oh man, Bitcoin hit like $3. You're going to sell it and make like a couple $1,000. Sweet. It's like, cool. Yes. But if you had not sold and you had held all the way till today, guess what? Instead of taking a couple $1,000, you'd be up like literal millions. Maybe even in some cases, like it's not too crazy to actually start throwing around the B word and say that that could have been $1 billion play. So when it comes to the idea of like, we are never going to see these prices again, look, I'm right there with you, brother. So the question is, what are you doing with it? Are you trying to build that long-term 20, 30-year position? If that's the case, then yeah. why are you picking up pennies in front of freight trains trying to sell tops on these local cycles when if you know that it's going to be the next Bitcoin? I happen to think that where you do get the opposite mentality going on there is that you can call it kind of like the scared money mentality, but it's the idea that like, look, things are not guaranteed. Definitely not. Gosh, we've learned that so many times around these parts. So it's like one in the hand is worth two in the bush. We don't know if Hex is going to hit $1. Lord, I wish it does. I hope it does this cycle. And I hope it even ultimately in the next cycles gets up to 10, 100, maybe even $1,000 Hex. That'd be wild. But the bottom line is we just don't know. I think that it's very easy to get survivorship bias, especially when you look at like the Bitcoiners that just like struck it so stupid big that like money is just not an issue to them at all. Like the concept of money is something they haven't thought about in like a decade. It's like, that's wild. I hope we all get there. I really do. I do think that you can attack both strategies at the same time. You can try to set up those long-term positions, but at the same time, also understand that you can make some smaller moves, not with the whole bag, not with the whole portfolio. Nothing here is financial advice, by the way, but you can make some moves to try to capitalize gains where they come, where they don't, and try to keep compounding the effect. And then maybe ultimately taking some of those profits and keep rolling it into that super long-term position. I think there's ways to do both. I understand the different mentalities. It is a whole spectrum of people on where they fall from. I am the forever Bitcoiner. I am just the day trader of meme coins. It's a whole spectrum. I happen to think that the Pulse Chain community and the Hex community in particular, those are the guys that are right there with you, Johnny Chaos. This is the group of folks that are like, yeah, look, we do Quattro Cincos because that is the one of the time cycles that I plan on doing that same Quattro Cinco with those same Hex coins, if not twice or 3 times in their lifetime. So
we have on the subject of TA and people asking questions about tokens and things. Do you have a TLDR for technical analysis on Bitcoin for Mr. Rhino or Reno?
Yes, sir. We're planning on doing this at some point anyway, so we might as well get to it now.
Better time than any.
Ooh, we got circles. Our heads are circles. How did that happen? That's
now we're squares. Matches our personalities.
I'm much more of a square.
I'm more of a square too.
That's fair. If anything, I feel like I'm definitely the square because we've compared all of our personal philosophies at the DJ Roundtable, and when it comes to the investing philosophy, I think I'm definitely on the more conservative side. But all right, here we go. Here's your TA. What do we got going on? Well, we just had our close. Did we? Yes, we did. Did we? Daylight savings time is messing me up. Anyways, here's what we're looking at right now. Currently sitting at about $109,500 for Bitcoin. We have an interesting thing going on with our moving averages. Our 20-day moving average just crossed over our 200-day moving average. So what that's telling us is that we're kind of in line with our long-term moving average, which is our long-term indicator of trend or momentum. So that is still to the upside. The 20-day, or short-term, is definitely towards the downside. The reason for that is that, well, we kind of dropped out a lot of this data back from our previous all-time high because it was, more than 20 days ago. And our most recent action has been all the stuff regarding the US-China trade deals, and then this kind of chopping around that we've had here. If we want to look at one of our other time-based indicators, 60-day cycles. As it stands, I do happen to think that we did finish out our 60-day cycle here. It was a slightly abnormal cycle, considering we had a high on day 35, and it only ended up being 46 days. I think it's largely explainable after you factor in the single largest liquidation event in crypto history happened inside of that cycle. So, okay, yeah, I get why it was shorter on that end. But as it stands right now, we are still continuing to make higher lows as we move further into this cycle. We did just have our, where did it go? 28th. That is right here. This candle, that is our FOMC event. And at that time, we were up and we were testing, trying to go through the 50-day moving average. Didn't quite get through it, so it came down. It looks like we've slightly used the 200-day moving average as support, but looks like we are starting to bounce back above it. One of the things that does still give me some bullish hope for this cycle overall, and honestly the rest of the year, is what's going on right here. So this is our RSI. This is a sentiment indicator, effectively, or relative strength indicator is the technical term for it. But what we're seeing is that on the RSI scale, we're continuing to make higher lows in conjunction with the price action going on. So the price action is not going crazy high, but at the same time, it's building. And that's what I want to see, which is that we're getting sentiment building, and ultimately we can move to these higher levels on RSI. And when you spend time in these higher levels, you see stuff like all-time highs, good runs. And the longer you can spend in these, like let's go back to November, December of 2024, back when we had the old election pump pretty much, we spent a good chunk of time. That was basically 3 full weeks in that overbought territory. And that is an indicator that price is moving aggressively towards the upside. So if we can get back towards those overbought areas, then that is where we can see some real expansions toward the upside and actually start moving towards those upper levels. So as it stands right now, our support area is right about $106,000. Below that, we got to look at this wick here, which also coincides with some of our data when we first moved up to these levels. So that's 103,000. Additionally, 100K Bitcoin as well is going to be another one of your support levels. We got some continuation from previous trends, our building phase here, and then we have not gotten back down to it since we had our event back in 22nd of June after we had an all-time high before we moved again to more all-time highs. So overall, I think new 60-day cycle. I think we're going to be moving towards the upside. That's just what happens in the 60-day cycle. And then RSI is showing me that we want to move higher, and our lows are becoming higher than the previous ones, which is a good indicator for bullish sentiment. And then on top of that, I think that we already tried to go through that 50-day moving average. If we try it again, I have a decent feeling that we have the ability to push through it now that we've tested it, cleared out some of the orders around that area, and we should have the ability to move higher and higher. Macro factors that might be affecting this. All right, well, we got one more FOMC this year. That's going to be December 12th and 13th. Well, 13th is really the day that you care about. Outside of that, we also have the government shutdown. Government shutdown is a self-imposed restriction on spending effectively. The U.S. government is the largest spender in human history at this point. So the fact that we have, closed the government and still the markets continue to perform the way that they do. By the way, where's my S&P chart? Oh, look at that. Mid-government shutdown. New all-time highs. Still. What a shocker. So, look, does it help my point that you don't need the government in your daily life to keep the markets healthy? It does. At the same time, though, I think it'd be slightly foolish to not acknowledge that while the government is shut down, there will be a small tick down in GDP. A small tick down in GDP can potentially scare off investors and turn into a risk-off investing environment. But at the same time, it's self-imposed, meaning that once the folks in DC kind of get their heads out of our asses and come to an agreement on something, the spending continues, GDP will resume, and there's a good chance that it will create a little bit of a boon in our local business cycle and really start getting things going towards the up and up. Keep in mind, thanks to the Bitcoin ETFs, we are now somewhat tied to the overall markets when it comes to the exposure there. So if the overall markets do pretty good, well, there's also just general high correlation with Bitcoin too. So at the same time, that would also be a good indicator. All right. Got to do my best Agent J impression now. I gave you the bullish case. Here's the bearish case. Bearish case, government stays shut down for longer. We start to see more effects. We start to see some actual social implications from it. A lot of the discussion lately has been that the SNAP benefits expired on November 1st. And well, there were a lot of people on social media threatening just to, go steal what they want. Hear me out. This is not legal advice, but don't do crimes. Crimes are bad. Crimes create unrest in your social environment, and they also kind of tear at the fabric, especially when you have large-scale events like that. If we start to see large-scale events inside of the overall country, that can negatively affect the investment ecosystem as well. And we can kind of go into more of a risk-off environment. That would be one of the potential indicators that could cause people to get a little shy, get a little gun shy, pull some money out of the market, try to put it in more safe spots. And that would be an indicator that, well, yeah, we're looking at moving towards those lower levels. I already mentioned 106, 103, 100K. After that, there's not much until you get about $93,000 Bitcoin. So if you want to look at your downwards price targets, that's what we're looking at. One of the scarier things is that it's not that scary, but it's understanding what's going on. We have retested the 106 area, and we even touched the 103 area during our most recent low, meaning that we cleared out a good bit of those orders, so there might not be as much liquidity there. Granted, we have not really touched that 100K area since June, so there could be a little bit more liquidity built up there. But then after that, realistically, we're looking at like 93,000 and below. So there you go. There's your bearish case. Maybe we get some more bad economic data. We actually see some issues from the government shutdown starting to affect overall markets. And that kind of stuff could cause investors to get a little gun shy, try to secure their money in more secure areas. That's not Bitcoin, because that's still how the market sees it. The market largely, especially TradFi, sees Bitcoin as a risk-on asset in general. Granted, there are the exceptions, like Michael Saylor and some of the guys out at the big hedge funds that actually get it, and they understand that Bitcoin is a real contender. But the overall market, including retail market for TradFi, still does believe that Bitcoin is very much a risk-on asset. So that's what we're looking at. Gentlemen, any questions? Did that make sense? By the way,
Makes sense. It makes sense. Thank you for going through both the bullish and bearish scenarios. I've already said I still have a bullish outlook, especially for this cycle. But in the short term, we have to see what is going on.
For sure. For your bullish targets, things I'm looking out for, I want to see us retest this 50-day moving average. I want to see that 20-day moving average get back above our 50-day moving average. I want to see us be able to clear this like 116 to 118 area. If we can get back above that area, there's a pretty decent chance that we're going to go try to test for a new all-time high. Might go try to test that area, get rejected once, and then continue on into price discovery. So that's what I'm looking for in the bullish scenario. Alrighty. We didn't even finish chat shoutouts, did we? What we got? Rhino, thank you for the reminder. That was a good one. Appreciate that. Moonpilled Rational Optics. Still think there is a 10x in Pulse and Hex. Gentlemen, would you like to take this one first?
Are you saying this cycle or sometime in 2026? Then yes, I think there's a chance that we could be much higher than 10x from the lows.
Will, what you got? What's your TA say? Good sir, you are muted, by the way.
I keep forgetting that I have my special thing. I will just say, sure, why not?
All right, I'll answer both of the questions. From current prices, is there still a 10x in Pulse and Hex? Yes, I think so. From the all-time highs, is there still a 10x? Yeah, I still think so. I really don't think it's run that hard this cycle, and we still have not really seen a true altcoin season since, gosh, like early 2024. There was a little bit in kind of the summertime when Solana ramped up and made its cycle top, or local cycle top. Thank you, Johnny Chaos, for the reminder. But outside of that, we really have not seen a massive altcoin season, which is going to be one of the indicators of kind of the top of the cycle. Additionally, there has been some movement in the Ethereum holdings when it comes to the Pulse Chain SAC fund. It did put it through a bunch of mixers. It's now been distributed to a bunch of what are hopefully anonymous wallets at this point. Is it saying it's buying up price? No. but I'm saying that that is a preparation for a move. The move might be coming next week, might be coming a year from now, might be coming 10 years from now. Who knows? The point of me mentioning it is that, like, look, we've gone like 2-3 years with zero activity. This is the first activity that we've seen. So it's something to point at. As far as the overall performance, I've definitely been on record talking about this stuff in the past, which is that I think that a first cycle L1, a good performance for it, or honestly, probably a pretty great performance, is 100x. So I know it sounds crazy, especially after, like, look, we've been getting beat and battered for a while now, but the fundamentals of the investing landscape don't change, which is that this is the kind of stuff we've seen from successful projects. So I think it's still very much in the realm of possibility. The longer we go into the cycle without major growth, it does affect the probability of that happening. But as it stands right now, 10x from current prices, yeah, most definitely possible. And also 10x from previous all-time highs, yeah, I still think is definitely possible as well.
I will also add, someone said, what is our definition of this cycle? I'm going to say within 2026, sometime within the next year.
I think the
really
extended,
faster than that, but I'm just using a wide time frame there.
Yeah, we've been talking a good bit about the possibility of getting that extended cycle and it going into Q1 2026. That's for Bitcoin. That is the one that's kind of up in the air. The possibility of an altcoin season happening in Q1 of 2026, even higher than that one, just due to the fact that it kind of lags a little bit, especially at the top. When you start to see that rotation, that's when you see that real parabolic growth in the altcoins. So yeah, don't sleep on it. And it's, if anything, it's going to take a little bit longer than Bitcoin does. So just understand like how the timing on everything works.
And then something like Hex and Pulse Chain might run after the other alt markets. Like last cycle, Hex ran late, really late, like last. And you know, I'm not saying that's gonna be the case, but again, it's the rotations. And so Richard Hart says he doesn't care about alt season; he only cares about our season.
Well said. I like
Touché.
that. That's a good one.
He did. He tweeted that out.
It's good.
When he did that thread, when he asked, and he said he was going to answer everybody's questions, and by golly, he pretty much answered almost every question. Spent a lot of time. I don't know if you read through that thread; it was pretty hilarious. But someone asked about alt season, and that was his response.
I dig it. All right, we'll keep it going. Mr. Beyond All, good to see you, by the way. This is James Williams too. Started talking about RH and the ecosystem. He is a big troll, though. It helps spread the word anyway. Will, what was one of the laws of power that we talked about previously? You're muted, sir.
You disdain things that you can't have. So like when people talk about stuff, it breathes life into it. So if people are trolling, if people are mentioning our name, if they're doing something, any publicity is better than zero publicity. Now, excuse me. Obviously, the good stuff is the best, but whether people are trolling or whether people are saying nice things, they're still breathing life into the idea of the thing. So that's my
That
thoughts.
is true. I was thinking a different one though. We talked about this one.
Oh, court attention at all costs. Yeah.
So look, it's the idea of like, there's no such thing as bad press. All press is good press. I mostly agree with that sentiment. I think that, look, the more you're being talked about, if you want to be talked about, you got to be in the limelight at some point. Having trolls does have its downsides though, but at the same time though, the more people that pick it up, the more attention comes to it, the more people that are willing to get into the ecosystem and get that price going. So look, it's something to be wary of for sure, but at the same time, I like seeing it, and I think it's a good indicator going on. By the way, Eddie had a good one. He was like, Johnny, I could have bought that prices, but my sister wouldn't help me because she said it was a waste of $1 in high school. I still talking about it at the Thanksgiving table. That's right, sir.
That's funny. Rest in peace, Mr. Eddie. Hey, well, at least you know now you have a pain point that will never ever leave you.
True.
Let that be your motivation.
Yeah. Rhino coming in with the thanks. Hey, thank you, dude. Appreciate you showing up and hanging out with us. It's always a pleasure. And we also got NJ Dub. He says, can I get a definition of what this cycle even means anymore? Thanks.
It means whatever the fuck you want it to mean. Like, look, nobody fucking knows what they're talking about. All that we're doing when we talk about cycles is we're referring to the things that have happened before that we presume are going to happen again. So it's obviously not doing the same thing that it did before. So there's nobody has the answers for you, man. If you're looking for an answer, you're not going to get one. All we're looking at is, this is stuff that happened before. This is where we're at right now. This is our comparison between that and before. So like, we use the term cycle to loosely talk about a 4-year cycle that Bitcoin goes through, and then an altcoin cycle that generally follows the 4-year Bitcoin cycle. But of course, everything changes all the fucking time. So we're literally just like, we're throwing spaghetti at the wall in the dark with our eyes blindfolded, and we can't hear anything. And we're just hoping that something fucking works, man. So that's what we're doing.
There you go. I think we appreciate
There you go, man. There you go. I'm gonna continue swatting flies and thinking about how the 4-year cycle is, there is no definition.
All right. Slightly more technical. Is will correct, which is that there really is no definition? Yeah, kind of, actually. It's just we're trying to identify historical patterns that have been going on. And the one that we've largely identified is pretty much this, which is that every 4 years, it appears that Bitcoin makes a new all-time high before going down to its new cycle low. So you see these periods where we get new all-time high, cycle low, all-time high, cycle low, all-time high, cycle low, all-time high, question mark, because this is our current one. So overall, as it stands, for the last, where are we at, 16 years at this point, it's pretty much looked like it's broken down into 4-year cycles. People have identified trends, which is that the 60-day cycle is one that identified this as well, which is that earlier on in Bitcoin's lifespan, it actually was 40 days. Now it's 60-day cycles. Based on that, it shows that as the market matures, things kind of slow down a little bit. So a lot of the speculation when it comes to 4-year cycle talk at like a real high level is like, how long is the 4-year cycle going to last? Is that going to become a 6-year cycle? Is it going to become an 8-year cycle? Is it going to switch to a more normalized cycle, something similar to like the business cycle, or even looking at like global liquidity? Or if you're a big fan of Axis Alive, he was one of the guys that really has been trying to like do the thinking about this one, is that he was proposing the idea that Bitcoin might ultimately even start looking more like the gold market, where it's kind of just like this forever up with periodic dips of like 20, 30, 40%, that kind of stuff. But as it stands right now, the cycles anyway, time frame about 4 years. But what you're pretty much looking for is just like big boom, big bust, big boom, big bust. That's what we're looking for. Oh, alrighty.
Fucking smoked him. Oh, I got one.
Will, question for you, sir. Make a prediction. Fart coin or fat coin? Pick one.
Neither. Go buy Hex.
What? That's actually probably a better answer. But overall, now let's see. Ba-ba-da-ba. Come on, deck screener. Fart coin. What are we looking at? Huh. Okay.
Womp womp.
Fat. What are we looking at?
Womp womp. Hey, I want to hit my left hand with a hammer, or I want to hit my right hand with a hammer. I got a good idea. How about you don't hit your hand with hammer?
Wow. That's hard.
Unfortunate, yes. But this is the reality for many meme coins out there. So like Will said, if you're playing with meme coins, you might be making the decision of, do I hit the left or the right hand with the hammer? And then every once in a while you miss, and then you actually hit a bag of money and you go, oh, wow, I didn't know that was there. Thank you, Moonpill. Oh, that was good. Oh, that was a good chuckle. All right, let's see. Eddie coming in.
You go ahead. You drive.
All right, thank you, sir. Eddie coming in here. I just got a notification. PHEX is down another 11%. Lol, hold the line. Hey, look, 11%.
What's your time frame? What's your time
also
frame?
That. Also that. Is that a decent chunk of change? Yeah, it is. But at the same time, though, like,
so buy it.
Losses.
If it's down, then buy it. You know, don't fucking. The only people that whine when the price is down are people that are looking to sell. So
that's true.
If it's a juicy buy price, then buy it. If it's a juicy hold price, then hold it. If it's a juicy sell price, then sell it.
I've been
True.
sitting on some dry powder in the Richard Hart ecosystem, and excited to deploy that at some point here in the near future.
I'm gonna tell you guys a little bit of secret, little bit of the way that Uncle Will does his investing. I don't do dry powder. There is no dry powder. It's all spent as soon as I get it every fucking time. It's because I know that if I sit on it and wait, then I'm gonna do something dumb. So I just fucking back the truck up, buy the thing, and forget about it. So like that's my own personal methodology, and that's just like that affords me the ability to not need to look at things and make decisions. Like making decisions costs me brain units, and I don't have a whole lot of those rattling around up in there. So I got to make as few decisions as possible. So as soon as I've got the money, it's like, okay, time to buy right now. What's the price? Okay, don't care. Fucking into the portfolio it goes. Oftentimes it gets staked out Quattro Cinco, and then I definitely don't have to think about it for a long time. So I'm saving my future self the the price of having to think too much. So having dry powder is it's a good thing to do. If you guys are like Brendan, then do that. And if you're like me, then do the thing that I do. These are just tools in the toolboxes. You guys can do whatever methodology suits you best. But it is good. It is good to sit there and look at all the dry powder and be like, ooh, I could do some fun shit with this. That is a good feeling, I will admit.
Yeah, Diamond Hand Degenerate is right there with you, Will. A DCA per day keeps the FOMO away.
There you go. I don't have any FOMO because I'm always broke because all of my dry powder is always spent because as soon as I get it, I spend it.
You know what's a unpopular opinion? My favorite long-term stake for Hex is 3650.
That's not a bad duration because that's the maximum bonus that you can get for longer pays better.
Minimum amount of time for the longest bonus, correct?
Yep.
Which is 10 years for those of you doing the math.
Mm-hmm.
So 555 is a little over 15 years, but you get the same bigger, longer is better bonus starting at 10 years. So 3650 is a very good one. I like.
Yeah. By the way, folks, you can do the math for yourself. If you go pull up the Hex white paper, all of it's laid out clearly there. There's two bonuses. Bigger pays better, longer pays better. Bigger pays better caps out at about 10%. Longer pays better caps out at like 300%. So it's kind of a no-brainer on which one you really want to try to focus on. Hear me out though. Getting an extra 10% though, man, it's free money, you know? It's free real estate.
All right, hang on a second.
And I'm still doing my short-term rolling stakes too. You know, my 30-day or 2-week stakes, which, you know, aren't netting as much as they were, but still free Hex is free Hex.
I've got an image that I want to pull up when it comes to staking and things. And this is a couple days old, so, you know, forgive me for that, but check this out. So, here we go. This is a post that I made in the DGen Roundtable a couple days ago, but it basically says the following. So if you want to buy a T-share today, it costs about $300 if you're doing a 1-day stake. So a 1-day stake, one T-share is 42,964 hex. Right now it's probably 43,000 or something like that. I don't know. And what will that one T-share earn you? One T-share per day multiplied by the Hex daily payout, which at the time is 1.5. So if you have one T-share for 1 day, you earn 1.5 Hex, which is just about a penny. Added to your $300 of initial cost, it nets you $300.01. So for doing a 1-day stake of one T-share, you risk 4,964 Hex units of sale potential because you get them back at the end of the stake, obviously. But you earn 1.5 Hex out of doing that. Now, if you wanted to get one T-share for a Quattro Cinco, or for 3,560 days, like Brennan was saying, then you get a bonus because you're staking for a long time. You get a 2 times bonus to your theoretical Hex. So if we multiply 14,322, we get 42,964. So you can stake less Hex to get one same T-share because of the 2x bonus that they get. So that will cost you $100 because it's 1/3, right? So 1/3 plus the other 2/3 equals the whole T-share. So if you do a stake for anywhere in between 10 years and 15 years, then it only costs you $100. And at the price of Hex today, you would earn 8,332 Hex at the end of the stake, which is worth $58 in today's prices, which it's not going to be probably in 15 years. So it's essentially like the difference between staking a single T-share for 1 day versus staking a single T-share for 5,555 days is an 8,000x in terms of the token units at the end of the stake. So this is the benefit of staking long term versus the benefit of staking short term. Obviously, if I'm staked out for 15 years, then I can't sell in between now and 15 years later. So I get to miss out on all those tops and all those bottoms in the meantime. Like, I don't get to do the thing that Zenith was saying, where you get those juicy exits and those juicy reentries, right? I can't play that game. I just have to sit tight and hold my own hand and pray. But like if you're looking to get T-shares specifically, which is the smart contract that you get in exchange for destroying your hex through the hex staking smart contract, then this is just kind of like a short little explainer. 1 day for 1 T-share gets you about 1.5. And if the hex daily payout is 1.5 and you multiply that by this number of days, that's how you get this number right here. So that's what you get. And Johnny Chaos brings up an excellent point. There's still 4 years left on those Genesis 3650s. So even the first people to ever do a 3650, they've still got 4 years left on their original stakes. So there you go. That's just some quick little maths for the folks at home. That's all I've got in that respect.
I dig it. Will does the math. I love it. That's fantastic.
Sometimes. That's what I spend my valuable brain units on is doing T-share math so that you guys don't have to. But yeah, I was wondering, like, man, what does a T-share cost? Because you see the T-share chart on the Hex website, but that tells you the T-share for 1 day. It doesn't tell you the T-share for a Quattro Cinco stake. Quattro Cinco T-share is like 1/3 the price of a 1 day Hex stake T-share. So just keep that in mind, guys.
That is true. Alrighty, tell you what, we got a few more things we want to hit before we get out of here tonight. So let's get going on those. Allow me to pull up. Brendan, believe this one comes from you, sir. What are we looking at here?
Well, it's very interesting, and I'm curious about what your takes are. But during the earnings call for Coinbase, CEO Brian was saying right at the end of the call, he decided to take up a look at Polymarket and see what was being bet on words that he would say during the earnings call. And then he goes and rattles off every single one of those words to allow people to win those bets. So on one side, you have a bunch of people saying, he's a G, helping the little people win. On the other side, people are saying, is it really good to celebrate mass market manipulation by someone who's supposed to be pretty neutral from a centralized exchange? So there's like two school of thoughts here. One, look, it's great. People are able to win the bets. Two, he's kind of taking these markets are supposed to be, odds markets and kind of turning them on their heads. Is that gonna affect those markets in the future? What do you guys think about this?
Well, let's give a little more context to it. So here's the poly market. Total volume, $3,914. So are we talking about a massive market? No. At the same time, though, I think the fundamental point of your question still stands despite market size, though. Is it a good thing that we're seeing that the existence of the betting markets is affecting real world decision making? Well, for some stuff, like, I don't know what you're going to talk about on an earnings call. Well, I happen to think like it doesn't really matter a whole ton because guess what? Q3 was still very good for them. So look, the overall underlying business standpoint was like it didn't really change. But when it comes to the idea of like, are we making different decisions in the real world based on betting markets that do exist? Well, if you ask people that were recently investigated by the feds for the illegal gambling and manipulation when it comes to like the NBA and stuff like that, well, that would be no. When it comes to like this stuff, like I don't really care a whole lot. I don't think it matters too much because it doesn't change the underlying business perspective, which is that the business is still going to continue to do what it does. Is this still a manipulation of what theoretically is a fair betting market? Yes, it is a manipulation. So from that standpoint, like the answer is no, it's not good because you're manipulating a market that people are betting on. You are directly affecting the change based on knowing what other people are betting. So I think that that's not good. But at the same time, goes back to kind of don't really care. If anything, this is more of just like a meme going on. Like the guy did the thing, we all get a good chuckle, haha. I don't know.
Because people can bet yes or no, right? It's not like only yeses win and then Polymarket loses. No, these are people betting essentially against each other in some sense.
Yeah, exactly.
I think, Zenith, that you devalue. So, of course, the money moves, right? But the thing that's important and valuable about this action is the story. We're sitting here talking about it right now. There's a news article that's written about this. This gets eyeballs. This gentleman is courting attention at all costs. Like, what is the cost of him reading off a couple words? Like, this is, oh, let's start a bet he will not mention Hex or Pulse. Ooh, that's fun. That's good thinking, Johnny. See, now that is the value of a campfire story. Is all that you need is that one tiny little spark. You just need that one fun little thing. So now what is everyone going to do in the following days? They're going to put in their little shitcoin things. This is probably like a one-trick pony thing. But you know what it does? It's bought a fuck ton of attention for both Brian Armstrong, for Coinbase, for Polymarket, for the crypto space in general. If this goes to like the SEC, then you get traditional market eyeballs in here too. And if it wins some cool ass precedent in court, like that would be fucking crazy awesome as well. I think that this, like the actual like money manipulation stuff is like, I think it's just kind of fun, right? It's a dude rattling off like a list of names, like fucking what if there was some what if it said like Epstein file list or something, you know? You could do some fun things with this if Brian really wanted to play some fun games, but like it's cool to see the big players throw the little guys a bone every now and again. It's like, oh, they're not necessarily sitting there begging for scraps. They were just gambling. And then, you know, the fucking the Deus ex machina, God comes from the machine, comes down and bequeaths these degenerate gamblers with some kick-ass money. And you know, it's just it's a fun story. It's a fun story, and I think that breathes a lot of life into this space, into his protocol, and he's definitely courting attention at all costs. So that's what I think about this. I think that it's the symbolism. It's what comes of it, you know.
Well, I thought you were going to start appealing to my sense of fairness and justice in the world, but you know what? I like that. That's a good one too. Brendan, what about you? Do you think this is how do you feel about this kind of stuff happening?
One, on, just on the surface, I was like, oh, that's hilarious, because I was watching it and I heard him and I was like, that's crazy. So from that standpoint, I thought it was great. From another standpoint, like, this dude's a market maker. He should have a little bit more responsibility to provide fairness to the markets. That's what he's supposed to be doing. So I don't think I appreciate it, yet at the same time, just as a person, I thought it was great. So take it for what you want.
That's true. Funny, yes. Also, as a market maker, do you have a slightly higher expectation of what you're supposed to be doing? I would also argue, yeah, for sure.
So yeah, that's what
I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah. All right,
yeah,
gentlemen.
You're right.
Gentlemen, we got one more big story coming out of here. Steak and Shake. Steak and Shake is announcing the creation of a strategic Bitcoin reserve. All payments received in Bitcoin will be placed in our SBR. We are donating 210 sats for every Bitcoin meal we sell to Open Sats initiative over the next 12 months. Make your Bitcoin steak burger a delicious bargain when you purchase your register with Fold app. You get $5 in free Bitcoin, and instructions are provided for you on your receipt. Thank you, Bitcoiners, for helping change the trajectory of Steak and Shake with a same-store sales increase of 15% in our most recent quarter, higher than all our competitors. And by the way, we do have a small visual here. The old Bitcoin steak burger.
That's great.
Ooh, there's a Steak and Shake near me. You bet your ass I'm gonna go over there. That's fucking cool. I'm not gonna pay in Bitcoin because I don't have any Bitcoin, but I think that would be awesome.
Funny. Also, yes. Is this an indication of where the market's kind of going with anybody and everybody kind of coming up with an SBR?
Fucking top signal.
Maybe.
Top signal. The top is in, boys.
Oh my gosh. Tell you what, though,
I hope that doesn't become a running joke. That would be quite tragic if the top is actually in. I would hate to be proven right. That would.
Hey, this is the stuff we've been joking about for like 2-3 years at this point.
Yeah.
Of like, when even the local burger place starts getting in on the Bitcoin thing, like, is that not a top signal?
Oh man.
I mean, so there is this political aspect to this right now, right? Steak and Shake has definitely taken the conservative side of the aisle when it comes to politics, and so I think this continues that. Am I seeing a lot of people doing it? Not really. We're starting to see companies do it, or I should say corporations do it. But I mean, Steak and Shake, probably a pretty small player. I don't know how many people are buying with Bitcoin there. Probably not that much. I want to keep my Bitcoin. I don't want to buy a burger with my Bitcoin. Now, would I want to do it just to do it one time? Sure. Why not? But I've never actually eaten at Steak and Shake before. So I know that they're using beef tallow for their fries, which I'm a very big fan of.
I was about to say that was the next thing I was thinking of. It's like they're doing a lot of good, cool things as far as like, does Steak and Shake align with the values of the Degen Roundtable, Will Stevenson, and potentially even Brendan? I think they're closer than any other fast food restaurant, right? Like that's pretty fucking cool. They're vending and allowing people to use Bitcoin. They've got beef tallow instead of seed oils. Like, I'm curious to see what's next Steak and Shake's gonna do. Like, are they gonna start? Are they gonna start selling off their real estate portfolios to small families or something? I don't fucking know.
Give me gluten-free buns.
Yes, that's the next step. Gluten-free buns.
Why don't you guys like that sweet gluten? Gives it that good chew. What are you talking about?
I don't know.
Gives me not good, very bad.
Have you ever had a gluten-free donut?
Yes.
That is a crumbling mess. It is. I respect the play, the creativity, the technical expertise it requires, but at the same time, like whenever the Fat Boy comes out, like I just want that good stuff, them good donuts.
Brendan, have you gone to Europe before?
Yes.
Do you have to eat gluten-free over there as well?
Everywhere.
Okay.
Yeah, because I have celiac disease. It's an autoimmune deficiency. Some people that are intolerant, could eat gluten that's, I don't know, less evolved or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay,
I got you.
I can't ever eat it. But Europe has Italy has the largest population of celiacs. So if you go to Italy, you can go to find tons of restaurants that are just like only gluten-free.
Oh, that's
There's
cool.
a great irony in there, which is that pasta country has the most people that can't eat pasta.
Over 1% of their population has celiac disease.
Wow.
Fair enough. Tell you what, though, let's dive a little bit deeper. I think there might be something to the Steak and Shake story. What do we got? Do they have a stock ticker, I wonder? Well, yes and no. They don't have a Steak and Shake stock ticker, but they're a subsidiary of Big Larry Holdings. Big Larry? One of the two. I wonder how they.
I like Big Larry. That's fun.
I like Big Larry. Yeah.
Let's go, Big Larry
Silverstein. There we go.
Big Larry, how you been doing? Let's see. They're down a little bit on the day, but let's go ahead and let's extend this out a bit further.
Whoa.
That's not what I want. That's what I want.
That's better.
Well, they've been around since the 80s. Most recently, they did suffer the old COVID dip there, but who didn't? Let's be real here.
Now this is not just Steak and Steak. This is Big Daddy Company, right?
Big Larry, yes.
Okay.
So look, overall, the Steak and Shake holding company, effectively, they're doing pretty good. They've definitely gotten past all-time highs. Even most recently, looking back at like January, we had the trade wars drop going on here. That was about $220. Currently sitting at $361. So, from a stock standpoint, that's kind of ridiculous.
It's pretty good. That's pretty acceptable.
Yeah, but I will ding them to try to be fair. Stock price previously all-time high was $313 back in 2016. Since then, it did drop all the way down to $60. Part of that was largely due to COVID there, but at the same time, even like end of 2019, they were sitting around $87. So there was a drop-off, but at the same time, that's quite the recovery, good sir. So,
and remember, this is not Steak and Shake themselves. This is big company that owns Steak and Shake.
Big Larry. There you go.
Big Larry.
All right. Kind of the funny story. There you go. We're over it. I do have one final thing I wanted to hit. Moon Pill Rational Optics. That's what we did the fart coin versus fat coin. He says, I'm so glad I don't play around with memes. Dogecoin is the exception. Good sir. Don't think I'm going to let you get out of here unscathed. Dogecoin currently at 18 cents. Meme coin season yet? I think
nice.
kind of not. Is it much higher than it was last cycle? Yes, but this cycle, whoa. Believe me, I'm still hoping too. I got a small Dogecoin holding just
I
for
still
the
got some Doge.
I have
Yeah.
exactly one
Sitting in
Dogecoin
a
in
cold
my
wallet
Robinhood
somewhere.
wallet.
one Doge, you say, Will.
One Doge, and not my Robinhood wallet, in my Robinhood account, just so I could track the ticker. I haven't used Robinhood. Hell, I don't even think I have it on my phone. But like, I used Robinhood years ago before I ever even had a smartphone, and I've only had a smartphone since 2023, just so you guys know. But like I have exactly one Dogecoin. I don't have it. Robinhood holds it on my behalf, I should say.
There
Thank
you
you,
go.
Vlad.
Anyways,
Well, if it hits $1, you have $1.
Mm-hmm. There we go.
I still think Dogecoin could easily hit $1 this cycle.
oh, absolutely. Previous all-time high was like 71 cents.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, if we actually get a good altcoin season, yeah, it can make it happen.
We've got one final chat that has rolled in, Mr. Zenith, a good friend of the channel that it's been a while since we've seen him rolling around in here. Check it out, ladies and germs. We've got the Herc himself coming in 2 more weeks. Bill strikes me as someone who would be off grid. I'm homeless, good sir. I am not living in my house. I have not been in my house in a very long time, but I'm living out of my truck and out of a TV or radio tower transmitter building right now that is in the middle of a, hey, look, there's the screen. Oh boy,
it's
you guys
us.
can see. Yeah, hey, look, it's us. But yeah, I am definitely off grid right now, so that's what's up.
Herc, always a pleasure seeing you, man. Thanks for joining in.
Welcome. Oh, asking when are we getting that second passport? That's a good question. I don't know. I'm good with 1 passport for now, but 2 passports is always better than 1.
Just got the one.
Oh, that reminds me. I gotta get my just expired. I gotta print out the paperwork to get it reapplied.
Yeah, get it, and go traveling. We love traveling.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna have to go to Switzerland for work next year. So maybe Italy too.
Nice. We've
Got the
got some
fancy job,
degens.
eh?
There's some degens over in Switzerland. There's one of the gentlemen's in the Telegram frequently talks about his time in the Swiss military. So you might have to swing by and say hello to Mr. I'm not going to dox him here, but we'll talk about it later off stream or in the Telegram. Shout out to all of our Swiss degens out there. Fucking love you guys.
That's true. Tell you what, though, that is the last of the chats pretty much, and that is the last of the news stories that we got tonight. So let's go ahead and start winding her down a little bit. Mr. Brendan, where can the folks find you, and what do you got going on in the near future? Any final words for Jerome while you're at it?
Well, Jerome the metronome. Cut in December, please, sir. That's my only words to Jerome. Also, I hope that you enjoy your waterfall and your newly renovated Fed building. And can you not spend my taxpayer money unscrupulously, please? Okay, that's all I have for Jerome. Other than that, you can find me in the Telegram, find me on X, and let's see. This week I'm heading to Philadelphia for work, so I'll be there Wednesday to Friday. May or not be able to join Wednesday because of that. And then the following week, I'll be in Denver for work and also for my wife's birthday. So going to be doing a little bit of time off, a little bit of work, and yeah, it's going to be a good time. So I may not be on Sunday next week because I'll be in Denver. But nonetheless, glad to be here. Thank you all for watching. It was a fun show, and stay strong.
Dig it. All right, Mr. Will Stevenson, where can the folks find you? What do you got going on? And which knight are you cheering for at Medieval Times?
I am going to be cheering for whatever knight is in my section, which I don't know about yet, but thank you for asking. As far as or reminding me that I have to talk about that. As far as what have I got going on in the near future, I am going to Chicago, Illinois, Medieval Times with Pesky Girl and whoever else decides to show up. Pesky Girl has been cool enough to organize a neat little Hexagon meetup. So if you guys want to join us, then go to bit.ly/hex_meetup or t.me hex_meetup. They're both motherfuck. They're both the same.
Funny bone.
That got me right in the funny bone. I was not ready for that at all. Holy moly! All right. There's a very sharp outlet over there. what was I talking about? Medieval times. Medieval times. You guys can go to t.me/hex_meetup as he carefully brings his arm down. And that's where you can check out all the details for that. Go to the Illinois topic and you will find us in there. It's going to be on November 8th at, I believe that we're meeting up at the event at 1845 local time. So, so that's 6 p.m., 7 p.m. for you guys over there in Illinois. So that's what's going on with me. Other than that, I'm chilling out in Columbus, Nebraska. So if you guys are in the middle of the corn and beef state, then let's hang out and party and drink some Bush lattes. Or I think it's Bush is the beer that they make out here. But yeah, all that good corn beer. That's what's going on with me. As far as what's going on with the DGen Roundtable, I'm going to be covering book club this coming Friday, where we are going to read Starship Troopers by Robert Heinlein. Very fantastic book talking about gentle federalism, citizenship versus civilianship, franchise, voting experience, military service, all sorts of fun things. It's a great book. And that's also where the concept of power armor on super soldiers first stemmed from. So join us on Friday. You guys can catch us here on the DGen Roundtable every 8 p.m. Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern time. That's our stream time. So that's what's up with me. That's what's up with Book Club. Mr. Zenith, where can the fine folks find you? And take us away, good sir.
Will do, folks. You can find me on X and Instagram at zenithdi. I do a lot of reposting for the show material that you see here. Pretty much all the interesting stuff that I find during my research. I also just do a lot of retweets, and I also just try to shout out the homies while I'm on there. So hit me up. I've been trying to help out folks. I think all the people coming into Pulse Chain lately, they've been like, "Oh, who's a good person to follow?" And I always tell them like, "Hey, look, RG3, he's the OG, he's the man. Richard Hart Max, what a guy, love that guy, and Crypto Coffee. I love calling him a handsome man whenever I can. So got to shout out the homies when you can. Outside of that, though, I'm going to be joining Will again for book club. I'm very stoked about this one, folks. If there was like, well, A, you should join all of them because they're awesome. But B, like, come on, it's Starship Troopers. Like, get in on this one. It'll be fun. I actually ordered a paperback version of the book, so I'm going to be trying to get through that with my eyeballs instead of my ear holes this time because I want to enjoy this one that much. Outside of that, folks, yeah, Rico's Roughnecks. Let's go.
Yeah. Kill some bugs. I'm doing my part. I'm fucking. As a matter of fact, I've got my bug assault shotgun right here that shoots fucking. Oh, and I'm gonna get one right motherfucking now, right over my computer. Oh, that was terrible. I just put salt all over my tower. So, oopsie daisy. I guess we'll have to deal with that. But yeah, kill yourself some bugs. The only good bug is a dead bug. Sorry, Zenith. What were you saying?
You're good. We're just trying to get out of here before we get on too many tangents. Outside of that, that is pretty much all we got going on. So it's about time for the end of show copywriting. So I want to thank all you folks for spending your valuable time with us here on the DGen Roundtable. As Agent J often says, we know that time is your most valuable asset, and we appreciate you investing it here with us every time. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Zenith, but more importantly, you have been watching the DGen Roundtable. Mr. Producer, go ahead and get that trigger finger ready. That's me, by the way, because it's time to remind all the folks at home to remember to DGen responsibly.